Okay, then we're gonna start off with family life from where you come from. Which country are you from originally?
Jamaica.
Okay. We're gonna talk about family life in Jamaica, childhood, that sort of thing. What was your childhood life like in Jamaica?
It's full, exciting, wild, and enjoyable.
Okay. What about brothers and sisters? Do you have any brothers and sisters?
6 sisters, no brothers.
Ooh. Okay, where do you fit in the 6 sisters?
I'm the second eldest.
Okay. What about extended families, like grandparents, uncles and aunts?
I've got loads of those. My grandparents are all died now, on both sides, mother and father side, yeah. I've got loads of uncles and aunts. Most of them are still alive, but a lot of them are in their 70s, like quite old now.
Were you a close family living together?
Yeah, because I lived mostly with my grandmother and, well, grandparents, because my mum used to work away, mainly domestic work, yeah. So.
Which parish are you from in Jamaica?
One called Hanover.
Okay. So you lived with your grandparents in Hanover from what age?
That's from as long as I could remember.
Okay. And your school, what was school like?
I admit it was hit and miss, because I'd miss school sometimes. I'd go, I don't know, eating mangoes, fishing, swimming, riding my donkey. It's like, at that stage it doesn't seem all important, and nobody knew any different. You just do what you want and go home when you see the other children leaving school. So a lot of times I wouldn't attend. And when I did attend, it was, I think I was more mischievous than anything.
Okay, so school didn't interest you then?
Not greatly. The most interesting part was watching kids fight, so to speak, because they used to be almost one every day, So you'd wait for lunchtime to see who was fighting.
See a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, were you close with your sisters? Did you have good relationships with your sisters?
Yeah, good. As I can remember, I was close at that stage, it's, yeah. Although the one sister, the elder one, the one I follow, she's from my dad's side of the family. So I didn't know her until I came to England in '62, and then she came over the following year. So that's when I first knew of her. But nowadays we're the closest, so to speak, yeah.
So from Jamaica, you were actually the first one for your mom, was it?
Yes.
You were the first one. Okay. What about religion?
Yeah, we had to go to church on Sundays because, like, a strong Church of God. Well, grandmother was the main instigator, so every Sunday we'd have to walk and go to church and, listen.
Did you enjoy going to church?
Well, I enjoy the singing and probably watching a lot of women get into spirit, as I call it. So at first it was frightening because you didn't know if it was real. It seemed real to say, well, something took over the bodies and there's on the floor, but then you just accept that was part of religion.
Okay. So when you talk about your life, you spend most of your childhood life with your grandmother. What about your father? Didn't you have any relationship with him?
Well, I didn't really know him until I came to England. I think because apparently he came over in '54 and I was born in '51, so I can't remember.
Okay, so you didn't grow up with your dad, he wasn't there, he was here in England?
Yeah, from '54, yeah.
Okay. And did you have a good relationship with your mom, even though she was working away?
Yeah, I missed her a great deal. I used to love when I came home, and times she'd sometimes take me back with her, to spend a couple of days where she was working, and it was all like a different world, because it all indoor toilet and all kind of fancy things, which I didn't know the work. I look at it and think, boy, this is, because you have to flush it, and I was used to that. So it was exciting,
So did you have any relationship with, say, any of your uncles or male cousins that you could do things with, activities, that sort of stuff?
Yeah, there's one uncle, we used to call him Mr. Denny, Well, that was his real name was Eric, but I don't know, we all had like pet names or family names, So he was 2 years my senior, so a lot of time when we didn't go to school, it was like because I was with him, Not saying it was leading me astray, I was both equally guilty. Then there's another one who's about probably 4 years my senior. Let's call him Mars U. His name was Barnes, but that was, when I grew up, he was Mars U, and so he was more into teaching me things, how to, I don't know, plant things, catch fish, all kind of things, make fishing baskets. So as far as learning practical things, I think it was him. Well, practical, yeah. And there's one aunt who followed that uncle, so she was probably 3 years my senior, and she had more on domestic side. I'd watch her and she's cooking, and she'd learn me how to guesstimate the time, like say, well, so how long's the milk, like when she's boiling, cooking, doing eggs, boiling eggs, and say, well, you leave it on for so long, and I say, well, how do you know how long is so long? And she said, well, for a couple of minutes. I say, well, how do you know? Then she'll, stop and wait, and then say, well, that's a minute, which was like magic, so. So that was
good relationship with your extended family.
Yeah.
Was that by your father's side or your mother's side?
It was my mother's side. Yeah, I didn't know anyone on my father's side when I was out in Jamaica.
No, where was your father from?
It was all Lucy. So technically, that's Lucy's. I think it's St. James side of Hanover. It might even be Hanover, St. James. I know it's up there somewhere.
Okay, but you had closer relationship with your mother family than you had with your father family.
Yeah, because it was non-existent with my father's family, because I never visit them or anything. It's always, not as far as I knew. If I had done so, it was unknowingly. Okay. And I'd have to backtrack with my mother to say, well, did I ever visit any of my father's relatives as such,
So even though you used to Skype school a lot,
uh-huh.
Did you end up going to high school or secondary school?
No, because when I left there I was 10 and a half, so I was still in, I think I still have the British system over there, so I was still in the so-called primary stream. All it would have been all in one school, because when I was at school, all the bigger children were in the same school, just that you had one part of the school. It was like the big, that's where you're going. It's like a big massive hall, and you're going, and that would be where the youngsters were. Then as you go up, you go further to the front, it went up in ages, and then right at the top, at the end of the hall, like, would be where the head teacher would, and the bigger children would be, So you never used to venture up there, because you had no reason. Your part was down here,
Okay, so you can say, well, your memories of Jamaica in your childhood is a memorable one.
It's brilliant. I was very unhappy when I came over here. It's just because I was enjoying my life in Jamaica. And coming over was like alien, because I didn't know my dad, so it was like giving up everything I knew and coming to say, well, my dad, and the stepmom, which is, well, I don't know him. Okay. So, but I had no choice. Go on.
So why did you decide to come? Why did you decide to come?
Well, Dad wanted me, because he reckoned over here I'd have a better chance educationally wise, I think, like most people then, parents then felt, well, he's over here, and he'd bought a house, and he'd got married, and you know, but they say wanted to have his children with him.
Okay.
But they say if I was in his position, I would have want the same things as well.
Okay. So he sent for you what year? What year did you came to England?
No, it's 62. I was 10 and a half.
Okay.
February 62. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then did you come on the plane or?
Yeah, plane. Yeah,
plane?
which is nice.
Yeah. Enjoy the ride.
Enjoy the ride. The worst part was taking off, but then, you know, it's once we were up in the air, that was exciting. You know, it wasn't sick or anything. You know.
Where did you land? Where did you
Gatwick, London.
Okay. So what was your first impression when you arrived in England?
Well, it was night time. The main thing was all these, seeing all the street lights, you know, like traffic lights, and it was like a long drive as well, because we came in would have been the night time, you know. We don't know exactly time, but I know it was dark, and being winter, February, you know, it probably didn't get light till, I don't know, probably after 8 o'clock in the morning. So my recollection of the journey back was all these street lights, and you know, when we go into any town centres, I can't remember which way my dad drove, but and everything was so bright, you know, and so that was the.
What was the impression of the houses when you saw them?
Well, that wasn't until like the probably following day, and it's unusual to see like a fire inside a house, you know, because back home, you know, it was like, you know, the only fire we had was like sometime out in the yard, or when you're cooking, you know, we'd make a fire, and the kitchen was normally, well, it was separate, you know, it was like a separate building, you know, like a good, well, you had like the house, and you had the yard, and the kitchen was over there somewhere, yeah.
Okay. So what about the fact that the houses had chimneys and they all look alike? Did you find that strange?
That was strange. Well, everything was strange, you know. I mean, I was very unhappy. I mean, because once it was winter, it was cold. I was more or less meeting my dad. Although it wasn't for the first time, but I didn't know anything about him, you know, my stepmom, you know, and yeah, it was all. Because although I came over with my mother, you know, that was the deal. She'd bring me over, but then she went to live elsewhere, yeah, with like
so you
family.
Came with your mother. Both of you came
together in
time.
62, yeah.
Okay, and she went elsewhere, and you went to your dad.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, your dad's house, was it a house of just the family, or you were sharing with other people, that sort of thing?
It was my dad plus there's a cousin and his wife, and at that stage two children. One was a year older than myself, and the other one, the older one is a girl, and the younger one was a boy. He's probably about 5 years younger than me, you know. So that helped, because I had like people, more or less children, and sight to talk to, yeah.
Okay.
And
so
like
your dad
get to
didn't
know.
have any more children here? You didn't have any children?
No.
Okay. What was the housing conditions like in the house that you lived in?
Well, it's good. I mean, because I had my own room, you know, to begin with, which was good. You know, it was a massive, big room, you know. So I didn't have any complaints, you know.
So you didn't have any problems like it's cold or it's damp or things like that?
Well, the coldness, yeah, not so much the dampness, but just sort of the coldness, because it was like a coal fire, you know. And after a while, it was, I don't know how long it took, but then once my dad had showed me how to make the fire, you know, coal fire, clean it out, and put paper and scratch up the paper, and put it in, then put some bits of woods on, cut up a little bit of wood, put it on, and then put some coal on it, and then you catch it, and if you do it right, it will catch. If not, then it will smoke a lot and stink up the place and go out, and then, you know, so that was sort of the main thing, just getting up out to bed in the cold mornings, you know, because
you didn't have any heating in your room.
Not at that time, but later on, I'd like the standard paraffin heaters, you know. Although there are two types. I had one where it had like a shiny metal at the back, you know, which was also like a more expensive one, you know. And the other type was like a more upright one, which is round, but you could put things on top too. You could boil water on top, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, so after a while I had one of those in my room, yeah.
Okay.
It was easy to hide, like you just turn up the wick and light it and turn it down and cover it back, you know.
Okay.
It was my job to get the paraffin though.
Okay.
Boring. I used to have to get the pink or blue paraffin. I didn't know, somebody told me the difference, but I can't remember. Because I used to have adverts about paraffin as well, SO blue paraffin, yeah.
Okay. So you came here when you was like 10 and a half. You went straight into school then? Here?
Yeah.
What was it like going to school?
Well, it was very strange. It's like I couldn't understand anything, you know, because I was only in that school from until say the probably March till July, when I broke up, and then I started in secondary school. Yeah. So, but I just couldn't understand anything, and it was also on a much bigger scale, because whereas the school I was used to was all in one hall, yeah, this was, you had your own like classroom, and it's very, very structured, and you know, you had like a canteen where you go and have your dinner and, you know, having custard. Everything, your sweet was with custard, and oh, what's this custard? You know, kind of thing. So it was a shock.
Food, you didn't get into food.
No, the food wasn't too bad, because I mean it's more like similar to what I was eating at home most of the time. So it wasn't, you know, like mashed potatoes and all that, you know. So, and you know, green peas, carrots, you know, they're pretty boring, but you know, that was it.
So did you face with racism at school? Did you have fights with people, that sort of thing, at that school?
Not that I can remember at that primary school, because that's almost like a blur, you know. I mean, it's because it just, everything was so strange. I mean, I can remember even like break time, and it's have like about 30 or 40 aside football matches, and the main thing that stands out in my mind, I kept picking up the football, you know. I've never played rugby or anything like that, but it's just because I never played football back home. You know, everything was like cricket all around us, you know. Yeah. So coming in and playing football, I couldn't quite get into the swing of things. So I remember just pick up the ball, and everybody would shout at me. Well, yeah, it's, you know, that, I mean, but so even if they call me names, which I can't remember any racial names at that time, you know, it was more of a senior school, secondary school thing, which in a sense blighted my life, because I spent most of my time in secondary school fighting and getting the cane and getting sent out of class, and you know, getting bad reports, and well, that's
what, because of the name callings and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's basically it, you know, because you just, why kids are just picking you for no purpose, you know. It's like, and it's amazing the number of negative words I had about black people, you know, and all kind of, you know, just, you know, I couldn't really, sometimes I think people were your friend, but as friends go, you know, school friends, but then next minute call you black this, black, you know, just like, now I realize they're just psychopaths, you know. At them stage I couldn't work out why these people so strange, you know.
Were you surprised though that you would face with so much?
Yeah, because I wasn't used to it. It never did occur, happen in Jamaica. I mean, Jamaican kind of like abuse is more about words to do with your mother, you know, and your heritage, you know. I mean, the word bastard never did back in Jamaica, never did come into it, because at that stage we probably probably was too big a word for us to know, you know, because we were more or less nearly dunces like guys. But you know, it was like any kind of cursing back home was like, as we call it, Jamaican style type cursing, where it's about your family, your heritage, you know, and you cuss off your mother and bring your. The most hurtful one back home was to do with your mother, where they always question her integrity and her morality and so forth, and their cleanliness, you know. So, but over here it was all that was
You couldn't
alien.
stand out.
Over here was all just race, color, racism, you know, it's related to your blackness, and you know, it's very hard to. Well, I couldn't deal with it. I don't know if there's any way anybody can deal with that at school, you know, because the teachers, they didn't take it see it as a problem, you know. It's well, very common, this and that. Yeah, well, yeah, we're not supposed to fight, so the race bit would just be ignored, you know. It was like the fact that you're caught fighting, you're caught misbehaving, you're caught making threats, and you caught chasing someone around the playground, because that was like a role of the prefects, you know.
Okay. Well, did you feel that teachers didn't support black kids in school then?
I had no support, because I was seen as the hooligan. My school report reflected that, you know. It's like if William's behaviour would improve, then he would get along, this and that. So, but there's nothing about the race and racial.
So they didn't
abuse.
find out exactly why you were behaving like that.
Well, I knew why. It wasn't like
you knew why, but
they knew. No, I knew why. The teacher knew why, because sometimes it'll happen in classroom, and you'd say, well, this and that, and they'll say, well, how is it to the white kid? Well, you're not supposed to call people names, yeah, and simple as that. So, and to me, that was no punishment. It's like, okay, we can get outside, we'll sort it out, you know. So that was it, and yeah, that's. So I mean, in the end, I mean, when I had the opportunity to become a prefect, because when you reach the fourth year, you know, like you 14 and that's in your, because then we used to leave school at 15, yeah. What was not so much people could put your name forward, yeah, and then the school, you up in assembly, school assembly, you get voted for, yeah. So it was a whole school thing, you know, and I thought, well, I reasoned that if I became a prefect, then I wouldn't be able to defend myself, and I'm abused because I have to behave myself, and I have to set an example, and you know, and I think, well, I wasn't ready to deal. I don't think I had the capability of being able to be racially abused, because I know it would still happen. There's no reason why I was going to stop because I'm prefect, because if I say boo, someone will say you're black this, you're black that, and then I'll go after them, you know. And I know even if you then take them to the head teacher's room, well, you normally leave them outside the head teacher's room, and yeah, she ain't gonna do anything more than say where you're not supposed to, and then, you know.
And dismiss it. Okay.
So that's how it's. Yeah.
So what about qualifications when you leave senior school? Do you manage to achieve?
No. I started off in the C stream. There's A, B, C. A was the bright kids. B was the brighter ones. Well, the reasonably bright ones. C was like for those who didn't. Well, dunces basically. We didn't have a D. If there's a D stream, then I'd probably be in the D stream. Although it was better because I could do certain things. If I liked the subject, then I was good, you know. Initially, I was good at religious education. You know, the first 2 years I came top, you know, because back home in Jamaica, yeah, you know, that's it. You knew your Bible. You didn't know even if you couldn't read, you could quote from the scriptures, you know. So you
You hear it every day in church.
Hear it every day. You could recite things, you know, and all kind of thing. 10 commands, you name it, and say Jesus was talking to his disciples and this and that, and you know, blessed are this and blessed are that. Does that match you something? And you know, I knew all that, and there's certain of the Psalms, you know, I knew, and so I was good at that, because that was like something which was the same as in Jamaica, but everything else was alien, you know.
Okay.
You know, so
everything seems different.
Well, more than different. I couldn't fit into it, you know. And so in the second year, because the first year I was good at RE, then the second year is the same, and then I developed my history, because I enjoyed history. Although it was all white, but I could retain. I had a good memory to retain those kind of dates and who did what. You know,
Okay.
Francis Drake and all those, all them kind of people, Florence, it was all very white, and but that was all we knew, so it wasn't a problem. It was in classroom, especially history, so much ashamed. Sometimes I feel ashamed to say, well, black people didn't seem to ever do anything or contribute anything. Everything was done for them. There's all these white people going abroad and doing this. You had people going Clive of India, and some of them just stand out, and just think, well, they did this and did that, and well, so what did the Indians do, so you didn't kind of make a connection to say, well, look, it's all one-sided. But as far as it went, I didn't know any difference, so you accept that as history.
Okay. So you've left senior school. Did you go to college?
I left in '66. Initially, I got a job as a trainee welder, but I only lasted for 3 days because.
Is that after leaving school?
After leaving school,
so you didn't decide to go to college?
No. Well, my dad didn't support me because he said I didn't do any. He was upset. He was angry because. All through my school days, my reports were all negative. It was like, because his approach as well. He didn't send in a wild boy to school. So, well, where's the problem? I'm supposed to buckle down and learn. And so I said, well, where is this? Well, tell the teacher. Oh, I'll tell the teacher this. They don't do anything. Well, yeah, just leave it. But it was very difficult to just leave it because it's almost like you had to defend your right to being a black person, and that's. And I was good at certain sport. I enjoyed sports because that was more neutral. It's if you're good, that's it. You'd get the credit. So, but then Dad wouldn't support me in sport, so it was almost like a battle to stop over from school to like do the training, because he said, well, in senior school to play sports, so, which, but I could see his point them days. I see his points, but his point of view. But I say for me the support wasn't there because I'm thinking, well, I'm having all this problem with these white people, white kids, teachers, and they're not actually seeing it to say, well, there's provocation. But then, you could say, well, I have to buckle down. And I mean, I didn't. I mean, I know I tried in the second year because I did well in most subject, history, English, maths, geography, I never did enjoy science. I never did do anything in science because it just didn't interest me, but, and even though I did better than some kids who got moved up into the B stream, and that's, I think that was a year which I thought, well, I'm going to try again because, I know I'd done well and I came top in some of the subjects, and other kids got moved up, and who knew, well, I did better than them. And I was angry, and it's, and also in my report, William proved that when he buckles on, he can do well. And I thought, well, I do well, but I should have got moved up to the next, the next stream, and it didn't happen. And I think after that, I just thought, well, why bother? Why make the effort? Because when you do it, it's people gets moved up, and it's more a behavioural thing. Well, they behave themselves, and so so that was that. So school just went by, and I spent most of it defending my right to be black, and it's got bad reports and lots of beatings from my dad for getting bad reports, but I enjoy doing sports. Cause I do everything: cricket, football, basketball, cross country. Those were the main ones we did, and I was always in the teams, and I think that gave me a lot of pride because I felt I wasn't just a waste. I could actually
more confidence to go and do other things.
Yeah. Well, it gave me the confidence to say, well, I could do something and hear positive things coming from the like this PE teacher, you know, just because, you know, you felt, well, you know, if your name is picking the team, well, you know, your name's going to be in the first 2 or 3 on the list, and you realize that you're well thought of, you know, the behavior wasn't a problem, because in that kind of playing as a team sport, even if the other team was racially abusing me on the football pitch, then, you know, it wasn't, I never get involved because I'm part of a team, so I could discipline myself. And, you know, and I think the PE teacher, he understood that, you know, because I would say, well, after half time, I say, well, whatever. So a guy keep calling me name, and I say, just, well, show him what you can do. Don't get sent off. Just show him that you're better than him, you know. And if you get a chance to push him to the ground or fairly, you know, shoulder to shoulder, well, you know, do that, you know. So if anything, he gets sent off because he might retaliate, you know. So it was like, you know, to deal, like the best part of it, because it was like developing strategies to deal with all that kind of racial abuse, yeah.
So going back to your job that you only did
3 days, yeah. Yeah, well, we started, it was four black guys. I mean, there's one other who went to the same school as I did, and the other 2 were from a different school, yeah. And we started on the Wednesday, but because like the holiday period. So although we started on the Wednesday, the trainer didn't, or the foreman who was going to teach us, wasn't coming back until Monday. And those 3 days we were told to just go on. Let's go and play, you know, just keep out the way, give and this. No, that was it, because it was like I told you, because we weren't really anybody's responsibility as such. We were the person who was there supposed to take us under his wing. I say he wasn't back until Monday, so we just say, well, go on there, go and out the way, do this and do that. And so we could mess about with the equipment, but we were only supposed to use like scrap metal to try and learn to weld with and all kind of things, you see. So, but we ended up damaging a water tank, you know, water tank which had made, yeah? So that's like a tank thing. Damage it by burning a hole in it, because we're welding something on it, and then because we didn't know what we were doing, we put up the current too high, so it gone through the metal we was trying to weld, as well as a borehole to the tank. And so, but we didn't tell the foreman. So on the Monday, when the person whose job was it to train came and realised what happened, you know, the deal was whoever's done it's gonna get the sack. So, well, 2 of us got the sack anyway, and that was it for a while. And I mean, it was later on in.
How old were you then?
I was 15. I was just 15, because I left school in July, and that would have been the probably early August, because I think they're just coming back from the 2 weeks holiday, because the industrial holidays normally is the last week in July, first in August, or the last 2 weeks in July. That's how it used to be, you see. So, you know, my birthday would have been later in the August, so I'd have been 16 then.
So did you
No, I'd have been 15, 66, I'd have been 15 in the in the August.
Did you find another job straight after that?
No, it was about 3 weeks after I found a job, and that was in a carpet shop in Welding. It was like as a trainee carpets salesman, you know.
How long did you stay there for?
I was there for a year, but then my mom, she wasn't too happy, because her view was, well, you know, there's no future in that, because she'd had her, I don't know, ambitions for me, you know, and so I should be able to make something myself, because the opportunities are here in England, yeah. And so I said, well, yeah, I could. It's okay. It's a clean job, you know. I couldn't convince her to say, well, you know, there'd be a future there, because well, you're a black person, it's a white people thing working in the shop, so you're not gonna get anywhere. So you might as well try and get yourself some kind of trade or profession or something, because you have to go to night school or something to make yourself a future. So it just convinced me, I got a job in this factory as a trainee machine operator, and again that was, I don't know what way that would lead, but it gave me the opportunity to go to college and day release anyway, and do welding course, which was like a ongoing thing.
Okay. So how long did you stay in that job for?
Well, I started in 67 and I was there till 70, 73, 6 years. It was okay, and I mean it was a job, and shift work, so I do mornings, afternoon, nights, and I think over time you got used to the people, so and that was part of it. You get comfortable and you don't really want to, what your mom's saying, but you think, oh yeah, but it's okay, mom, I'm a big boy now, I can, I'm happy. So that went on then.
So did you achieve anything from the day release going to college?
Yeah, I got various certificates, welding certificates, because I kept it up until 76, because you can do a bit for 1 year, then that first part, then you do the second part, then you get your certificates and you move on to another aspect of it. It's just like learning any kind of skill, there's lots of different areas to it, so you do one bit, but you don't know it all, you only know that part, and so that was good. That it helps a lot with my confidence, because it's hard doing the practical bit, but when you have to do the theory, to know well how you go about, if you had a certain job to do, how you go about preparing it, so when it's actually done, when it's completed and it's in service, then it's not gonna fail. It's not the welding isn't gonna crack, or it's us, and you end up probably injuring people. And more or less every thing which is metallic, is welded. There's different types of welding. Like trains, they're welded together. The train track, that's welded together. Airplanes, they're welded together. Ships, there's almost, you name it, unless it's plastic, which is different, but every metallic thing. So it's wide, very wide and wonderful, and it's it was a learning experience, because you didn't realize that from where you started, it was such an all-embracing thing, where because in the Second World War apparently, lots of ships, like it weren't because that they were blown out of the seas, because they cracked, they broke in two, because the welding wasn't up to standard. Okay. They hadn't done the preparation, so when the weather got cold, they had what they call a brittle fracture, so it just snapped. Yeah. Because they hadn't used the right steel, and they hadn't used the right welding materials, and that was like really eye-opening, because you think, oh boy, you never know these kind of things existed, and just like with cars, the cars like are welded together as well, the components, so you just thought, well, this could go in a way, it could end up.
So did you leave that factory job? You leave it after 6 years?
Yeah.
Where did you go after that?
I think it was about 8 to 9 months. I always went in, there's a government training, what do they call it, GT Centre, government training centre. They have them all over the country. It was in Leicester, this one was, and so actually I went in there for 9 months to actually do a full-time welding program, welding course, because at that stage, for about 2 years or so previously, North Sea oil, just off the coast of Scotland, that I developed that would become the main thing on there was always opportunities for welders, but you had to be of a certain standard, what I call coded welder. So you had to be able to, the quality of work you had to be very high, because all the work needed to be x-rayed after it's done. See, the quality's there. There's no like hairline fractures which you can't see by eye, but if you x-ray it, you'll yeah, because when you're doing the oil rigs and so forth, it's because the coldness of the sea, you don't want anything to happen, because it's people's lives at risk. And even aspect of learning to do what I call underwater welding. You create a vacuum. You might say, well, how can you weld when the water wet? Well, at first was my first instinct. Well, how can you do it underwater? But the thing because of the air, you create like a vacuum, so where you're welding is actually dry, because there's the air bubble and all that, and you do all that, you see, and that appealed to me.
Did you achieve that then, to be a code? The
No,
standard that you wanted to be in welding?
no, because halfway through the course, I don't really fancy going to Scotland to work, because I might be just one amongst many white people here, the way I saw it. And thought, well, it's almost like going back to school days, where I'm in an alien environment. I'm out in an oil rig, because you'll be out there for weeks and end, and I'm thinking, well, how am I going to survive up there, and I just thought, well, no, I can pass the course, but I'm not going to put in for the test to become a coded welder, because you do the course, but then you have to do the test, and then it has to be whoever comes along and test the work, see and then you get your code. And I just thought, no, I can't put myself through all that, because if I got a code, I know that I'm going to think, well, I forgot it, so I'll go for it,
So where did you work? Where did you work after that?
I worked in a place called Wednesbury, which is a steel work, but it was like what we call maintenance welding. So mainly it's repairing things and making things for the machinery, which includes overhead cranes, so if they're sometimes the bits broken them or whatever, so you have to repair them. You can't take them off the track, so if they're overhead, because they're running overhead to lift up heavy things, so you'd have to, well, you got ways of climb up.
So long did you stay there for?
74. I was there till 1980 when it closed down, but I left for about 4 months in 76, 77, and because I got married in 77, but then the ex-wife, which is ex-wife now, she wasn't happy about me doing shift work. I was still doing shift work, because I enjoy shift work, because it gave me a lot of time.
In 77. 7. Do you have any kids?
Yeah, two daughters, and so I gave up that job for roughly about 4 months, because I had a job on days in Cradle Heats, which is somewhere near, over that side, near Halezone way, somewhere in there. And that was in days, but I couldn't get into it, because you had no time, because when you want to do things, everything you had to leave till Saturday to rush and do this and do that, and I became a bit despondent, so I gave that up. And
so what about your family life with the kids? Did you wanted more for them than like how your father wanted so much for you as well? Did you push them to certain limit, especially school and all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, the children, I was always positive about my children having let's say, good quality kind of education, for them to give it the best shot, for them to enjoy it, most of all, and to be able to share, if they're a victim of bullying or racism, or even unfair treatment from the teachers, for them to actually be able to come and talk about it, so we can go and challenge the schools about it, rather than them having my experience where when I brought things home, then I'd get no support. I'd seen as a problem, and I think, well, no, they're not the problem. They're not it's not going to happen to them, because we know what the system is like. And then by that time as well, as think I'd gone through my kind of metamorphosis in the early 70s, where we used to, went through a phase where we was picketing the local police stations, because even though this thing about police brutality to black people wasn't new, it was happening in the 60s, more so for me in the 70s, and we were just targeting black people, arresting them, you know, and roughing them up, sometimes beating them up, and, you know, it was like, you got no comeback. So we used to go and, you know, got a little placard, you know, enough is enough and all kind of thing, and we made front page news on the Express Star once, you know. Oh. Well, I took a picture and I was there and I thought, well, hey, you know, so, you know, because we used to meet just not far from here, just off there's Broad Street that's run on the back there. There used to be a YWCA up there. The building's still there, but it's an Asian concern who's got it now. I'm not saying if it's or what it's used for, you know, but we used to be able to use it as a meeting place, and we'd get there's people from Birmingham come over, because we have like a Harambe in Birmingham. We've got one over here now, but sometimes we get speakers come over and they'd talk about things, and, you know, we'd get like introduced to issues about, you know, like
Racism.
black, well, as much, but it's like looking at it positively, to say, well, what about black people? What have we got? What about us? What have we got to offer? We know what's going on, but let's look at it. How do we become part of the solution rather than be seen as a problem? You see, so starting point would have been, say, Stokely Carmichael, Charles Hamilton, you know, kind of black power issues, and, you know, and Malcolm X, you know, and even then that time there's even Michael X, you know, who I think he's died. Well, I think he changed his name after anyway. So, and it wasn't so much Martin Luther King, because at stages too much middle of the road. It was into like kind of reconciliation. Well, forgive the white man and white woman, you know, they do not know what they've done. I think, well, yes, they do. You know, they're just bad. You know, and it was like saying, well, let's get in the faces, because they're doing this over and over, and it's a historical thing, you know. So,
are you disappointed that a lot of our history and what you've gone through, hasn't been recorded?
Yeah, I'm very disappointed, and presently, I mean, not so presently, for the last, last 10 years or so, I was write little things, although I haven't kind of thing published in a major way. It's like we've got like newsletters and so forth. Well, you know, put them in, and I don't know, you know, because well, yeah, we need to hold on to this, you know, because I always look at the Irish and the Jewish, how they hold on to the kind of history they heard, the kind of treatment they've received. Say, well, as a foundation, a starting point, say, well, we ain't going to forget this. You've done us wrong, and there's no reason for it, and we ain't going to forget it, because, you know, it was like genocide. You did it on purpose. You knew what you were doing. You weren't stupid. You weren't ignorant. You're just bad, basically, and, you know, you meant us harm and you did us harm, and I'm from that school of thought, you know. So, well, no, don't forget, no surrender. Reconciliation might be okay for some, but it's almost like a wide perspective. You know, you're not looking at it from a black thing. Well, why should we reconciliate? Let's talk about, find out why they did it. Let them stand up and explain why. Then we decide, well, what kind of repayments we want. Reconciliation, just saying, well, forget that. Let's start again. Think, well, I don't know. No, we don't start again, because you'll do it all over again, you know, and we need to put things in place to make sure that you know what you've done, you know your excesses, you can try and explain why you've done it, but nothing you say will ever compensate for what you did, and, you know, we're going to make sure you don't ever do it again. So, and in a sense, bring it up to date. That's why I don't understand exactly what's going on in Zimbabwe, but I'm happy that the President Mugabe said, well, we're gonna take our land back. You know, you got it by default, and because you gunpowder and by trick and all them kind of things, and now, you know, we want it back. If you don't like it, well, go away, you know, because our land. It's and why should our people be dispossessed in their own country, you know? And because where else does it happen? You don't see it happening in any other country. So I'm proactive to that, but I don't understand the exact ins and outs as to why it's taken so long for, say, land reforms to happen in Zimbabwe, because all I hear is a propaganda say Mugabe's this and that, but I'm saying, well, white propaganda will tell you that he's a problem, and the white farmers were seen as the victims. I'm saying, well, but power is never given. Yeah, so if white people have power being land and property, well, then I just give it up. No matter what the black laws say, they're gonna hold on to it because they're looking for the sympathy vote from other country, and in the main, it's them who control the media, so they can always give their propaganda to say, well, look at us, we're poor victim. We're bona fide Zimbabweans, and and then we'll kick their asses and mark them out England or go then Holland or wherever they come from, and so I'm into that.
You're into that. Okay, thinking about housing, did you find it hard after you married to get house and all that stuff?
No, because we got married, we got a mortgage in this place, and I just saw a place which, before I got married, and I think it might have been the red carpet, because the wife-to-be, she immediately saw the red carpet. To me, it was like, whoa, I like this one, and so we got that.
So you didn't have problems receiving house because you bought a house from Hurley, so you didn't have the problem of locations where they put you in housing, signing on to councils and all that stuff?
No, that for a while with my mother, because I lived from 69 and 67, I lived with my mother, because I left school in 66, and I don't know, then after a while, some evenings when I was coming from work, because I was from it might have been September 66 when I started working in this carpet it's like, it's a shop, because there's a shop front, but we did everything. We did repair carpets, we did fitting and so forth. But some evenings I'd stop by my mum, because she lived in Wolverhampton then. And after a while, my dad he wasn't happy, because I know a couple of times I'd dinner at my mum, but it was my fault. I didn't tell my dad or stepmom that I'm going to stop this. When I get home, I weren't hungry, so it became a problem to say, there's food here and I'm stopping off eating. So it came to the point where I said, well, look, I think it'd be best if I go and live with my mum. Although no, he claimed that he was only saying it as something to say, but in my recollection, he's always been like brutal in his language, and I just took it as read, and I go okay, and I left and started acting and packed my bags and turned up on the door and said, well, Dad said I must come and live with you, which she wasn't very happy, because she felt that that's no way to treat your only son, kind of thing. And he said, well, he never meant it, and I took it and this and that. But I said I didn't want to go back, because he's to me, in my experience, it was always negative. There was nothing. I couldn't wash the car. I couldn't never do anything properly. I couldn't cut the grass properly. I couldn't. You name it. I could never do anything properly, and it was like, I just did my head in, and I knew that if I were children, I'd never put them through that, because I felt, I deserve better, regardless of the fact I didn't do this at school or whatever. But I wasn't. Didn't get myself in trouble and so forth, and I thought, there was no reason for that, because if I was bad as I saw it, then and I was bringing him lots of stress with, say, the police or you name it, then but I never used to, so I didn't. It wasn't deserved, so I was happy to jump at the chance to go and live with my mom. Although at the time she was living with my. We weren't married, so I had a partner, and then two sisters, young, one was born in '66 and the other one was born in '63, I think. So, but then I had my own room, so it was good because it's a big house, and it was all right. But after a while, it took a while because then we moved from there to on another 2 occasions. Because my mum didn't stand nonsense, so when like the landlords or whatever start getting the wives start getting a bit fresh, then she was happy to leave. Although it was like.
Was it easy to find house then?
It was easy to find houses.
Decent accommodation.
Well, decent in the sense, it was decent to decent went, because she wouldn't want to go live in a dirty place or whatever. But there's no place where you have central heating or whatever. So you still have to walk with your paraffin heaters and all them kind of things, and. And everything was shared. You have your room, but you have to share everything else. Well, the kitchen and the bathroom, you'd forget about people's living room. They'd leave them to live in their own living room. You'd get your own little telly in your mum's room or something. And then I say that went in for a little while until about, I think it was 1970. For a couple of years, 3 years. Sometimes 70 we got a first council house, but that was after she'd refused about 3 or 4, which were saying bad, it was offered a heap of rubbish, and she was adamant she wasn't gonna live in any like rubbish, so that's that. And we had ups and downs. I lived with her until I moved out and got married in '77. So I mean, I'd left once, probably in '74. It lasted for about a month because I set up home with my girlfriend, but it didn't work.
So you came back home?
Yeah, because I wasn't too proud. Because I thought we hadn't fallen out. It was just say, well, I wanted my own space, kind of thing, But again, I think I had this kind of strong sense of right and wrong and how I feel I should be treated. I think that's if you show respect and give respect, you expect that in return. And I felt I wasn't getting that, and so I thought, no, man. And I became unhappy, and I thought, oh, I'm working, I'm young. Well, why am I unhappy? I'll go home. I'll go and talk to my mum, and that was that. So I went on, and so I know over time, my friends, male friends, I always say, well, your mummy's boy, because a lot of them, they'd 16, 17, 18, they'd had kids, they'd set up in their own little place and got their own council flat or something, and I was still going home to my mum. And well, that's okay for you guys, but if I'm going to set up home with a woman, then I'm going to do it because it's somebody I feel I want to spend my life with, or at least it's not going to just be there because it's I have to prove that I'm a man, or have children when I'm young to prove that I'm a man. Even if I didn't have that gift to have children, then it wouldn't have been a problem. Because I'm thinking, well, no, I'll do it when I'm ready. So it's always my thinking, well, I want to land on my feet in a sense, rather than jump out the frying pan into the fire, which has happened in all time. But still, you learn from your mistakes.
Okay. So have you been back to Jamaica since you've been here?
A little once, that was back in '97. Because in the early part, although people say, there's no excuse for not going back, because if you want to, you can always afford to. And I think, well, I've always wanted to, but a lot of it was to do with my mother, I think, because over time there's always historically issues going on with our extended family back home, and I'm thinking, well, if all that's going on, then why am I going there for? Because I'm going to get involved in it, and if I go out there and go and book into a hotel or rent like a flat or somewhere or whatever, then people say, well, your son come out here and didn't even blow. So there's going to be that. And with me, wants to take side, and I always take side with my mother. So it's like, it ain't going to happen. And even when we went out there in '97, I didn't, because then the other things had blown up, so I didn't even make any effort to go.
The closeness of the family from Jamaica falling apart then?
Well, it's falling apart, and a lot of time it's to do with money, and it's this thing about and land, money and land, and people feel, well, you know, they've been abused, or you've sent money out there to repair this or build that, and it's not happening, and it seemed like a perennial thing for a lot of Jamaicans I know anyway. So I think, well, why is it like that, you know? And you think, well, no, I mean, but I say in the 60s and the early 70s, that wasn't the case. It was like, because Mum goes home.
You wanted to go then, but you couldn't afford it.
I couldn't ever afford it, and another time I think it's in the 70s I was more interested in music in a sense. I was like finding myself, and it was like more about boys want to have fun, you know, like.
So you didn't miss Jamaica that much. You weren't.
No.
You came here when you was young, so.
No, my dad had put paid to that, because I know I had to stop writing home, because he I think my grandmother, after I'd written to her, so happy I was been in 60, probably 2. Then she wrote to my dad, and so he got wind of that, and then he'd say, well, any letters I'm going to write, he's going to want to read them before I sent them. So then I said, well, I'm going to write again, and that was it. I didn't write anymore, because I thought, well, if I'm going to have to write things which aren't true, then I ain't going to do it. So that was my way, that was my bit of power, you know, where I'm going to write then. You know, so I felt good about that. Yeah.
So what about going back now? If you're thinking of retiring, do you ever think of going back?
I've got loads of money, yeah. I'm buying a mansion. Well, I've got it all planned out, you know, so that'll be big mansion, and hopefully, probably I could, Mum would, she's still here, but she'd be out there, and she'd be the one who'd live in it, and until I retire, I'd probably go back annually, and then when I retire, I'd spend most of my time out there. Then I'd probably come back here for a couple of months in the summer, like probably June, July, August, and like, I don't know, see my daughters and probably grandchildren or something like that, and yeah. So that's the romance.
What do you think about Wolverhampton now? Do you think it's actually changed? Do you think there's a lot of changes from the time you came here up to what it is now for black people?
No, not. We got a race equality council, and where issues are dealt with, and you know, you can put things on the agenda and you can challenge the structures. But then all it is, you know, white people and their white organisations become better at, you know, like being racist. They becomes more covert, you know, and you know, then it's very easy for them to then hide behind the fact, say, well, prove it, you know, well, where are we? And you know, again, it's about the power of the media and the propaganda they can push forward to say, well, you're the problem. And I think probably the best thing which has happened in recent time is the Macpherson report into the murder of Stephen Lawrence, but the devastation it brought into the family, to say it brought them up and this and that, and it's their pride and joy. It's killed by racists, and the white system didn't want to do nothing, even though, you know, they're reluctantly dragging the feet. And what hurts me now is almost like everywhere you turn, white people happy to identify and label things as racist. I think last week an Asian person was murdered in Cardiff, and then it was like a racist attack, and think, well, yeah, but that's been happening from time, and when black people call it racist, nobody want to know. Even some black people don't want to know. I know all of a sudden, because this Macpherson report has empowered you and say, well, it's institutionalized racism. You know, it's not the type of racism which, like, Stokely Carmichael and Charles Hamilton had identified. Say it's white. Yeah, it's not institutionalized. It's white people. It's racist. You know, and so because they can hide behind the structure. Say, well, it's not the individual. It's the structures. And say, well, who runs the structures? Who make the structures? Who becomes the structures? You know, it's individuals. You know.
So what you're saying is that black people don't have to die before they can recognize these things, because it's been there from a long time.
It's been there for a long time, and it's like if it's only when black people die and then they're murdered, because die is naturally, murder is something else, murdered by racists, and then the system, white system, the police, who they would pay for them, they've done nothing, they can't do their job properly, because the evidence suggests they could have saved Stephen Lawrence if they'd made even just half more effort to give him medical treatment, you know. And well, why should we, it's the same kind of genocide, why should we wait till they murder us then, you know, we like react? And I think, well, you know, we're too busy reacting, we need to be proactive and put in like structures in place so, well, this will never happen. And once the white people are not acknowledging that they're racist, because that's basically what they're doing, they've changed the terms of it to say, well, we want our white definition, because we want to take it away from the individual to put it onto the structures. If it makes them happy, fair dues, we say, well, okay, well, that's our big stick to beat them with, and we need to use it, because we've been saying this all along. We've been talking about institutionalized racism from time, and all it is like, well, we're troublemakers, let's talk about harmony, let's talk about living together, let's talk about being multicultural and multiracial, and, you know, I'm thinking, well, okay, we cannot be all that, but wrong is wrong. If you're doing wrong, you need to be brought to book, you know, and all this kind of thing. So, as far as it goes, I hear the rhetoric, you know, but I don't see any real changes, you know. I don't look around, I don't go places. It's still the whole thing's still there. There's still areas in Wolverhampton where it's not safe to go as a black person, you know, and it's not safe to live as a black person, because you're gonna get racist abuse, you're gonna get rubbish put in your letterbox, you know, you're gonna get lots of rubbish daubed on your doors, you know, your children are gonna get abused on the street, at school, and you know, it's there, you see, and all it does is the media keeps leading that. The police don't want to acknowledge that it happens. From time to time, there's areas in Wolverhampton.
They don't want to know that it's happening.
They don't want to know that's happening, because they want to pretend, say, well, no, it's not there. Or when they can't actually pretend it's not happening, say, well, it's a few idiots. You know, they're always saying, well, these people are idiots. And they go, well, no, they're not idiots. They're part of you as white people. They're your voice who actually put in your rhetoric into practice. You know, because they're saying, well, we can do this, and they're doing it, and they know they can get away with it. So when they have the Ku Klux Klan flyers at schools and so forth, and you know, and like lampposts and trees, and you know, white people who don't want to see it will go and pull it down and pretend, well, it's not happening. They don't pull it down, and they don't bring the media, don't say, well, look what's happening, because they don't want it to become seen as something which is happening in their midst. They want to pretend that we're not racist, and we haven't got these racist thugs here. So, and it's, you know, it's still there, it's still thriving, and you know, it's not going to go away, because the people them know that they can survive in this society being racist and get away with it. And then because all the system will say, well, it's just a few mindless idiots. I'm saying, well, no, they're not mindless. They know what they're doing, and they're getting support from elsewhere.
Well, Mr. Williams, thank you very much for this interview, and we'll end it right here.